It's that music again. You know what that means. It's time to calibrate. I'm Mark Levesque. He's Bob Allaby. Unfortunately, Brent couldn't be here this morning. We're your hosts, and we have a very special guest today. And this time, it's not someone from our nerdosphere. We've talked about having guests from outside the watch world, and so today we're proud to welcome singer-songwriter Louis Amanti. And you know what? I should have asked you first. Is it Louis or Louis?
Well, usually, it's technically pronounced Louis, but everybody calls me Louis, so it's Louis. That's how
Like Louis Armstrong, I guess.
like Louis Armstrong, correct? That's perfect.
So before we get to start peppering you with our questions, let's get the wrist checks out of the way. Since you're the guest of honor, what's on the wrist there, Louis?
So I brought a very special piece. I think you guys are going to appreciate this watch as soon as I get this camera. Okay, perfect. I'm a huge fan of, vintage watches, and loved, especially like the triple register, Jorge Carreras, the 2447s, the Monacos, the Camaros. But this watch was a watch that I discovered about, say, 13, 14 years ago. And there was a company back in the early 60s that were starting out, and Zinn, by the name of Zinn, the company. And when Zinn started off as a company, they were really into motorsports, but they had boutiques everywhere, and they would create instruments for pilots. They would create instruments for different fields, and eventually they wanted to expand into the watchmaking world, into the watch world, and they had a collaboration with not a collaboration, but they worked with Jack Heuer in the early 60s, and Zinn had boutiques around all Formula One, or usually almost all the Formula One races in Germany. And so when Formula One would come to Germany or different parts in Europe, sometimes he would have little boutiques, and Jack Heuer wanted to start selling his watches in those boutiques. So they created a great partnership together throughout the years. And eventually, Helmut Zinn wanted to get into watches, and he asked several other companies, but he asked Jack Heuer if he would allow him to use some of his watches and write his name on the dial. And after back and forth conversations, Jack Heuer allowed him to get some models off of his catalog and put the name Zinn on the dial. So what I got here for you is a very, very rare piece, one of the rarest ones. This is practically a Heuer 2447 SN, probably one of the most legendary Carrera watches, but with a Zinn dial. And this is what you see right here.
Wow.
Let me see it. Glare.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's a triple register. Yeah. So it's a special piece. I believe that very few were made. And the story behind this watch goes that in the late 60s, Heuer was switching from manual watches to automatic watches. Monaco became the first watch, I believe, that was an automatic chronograph for the Heuer company. And in the late 60s, early 70s, Heuer was trying to get rid of some of those manual pieces, and Helmut Zinn bought a lot, and there was like about 3 or 5 in that huge catalog that he bought, and this was one of those 3 or 5. It's not 100% certain, but in the past 60 years, I think this is the only one that has come out, and it's a special piece. I've been looking at this watch. Knew the collector who had this watch in Europe. And then he sold it to a really, really big collector, Zinn collector in Europe, which I thought he would have never sold this watch. And he sold it. He sold it to a friend of mine who is a vintage dealer, and saw the opportunity, and there it was.
Wow, I really wasn't expecting that at all. That's really cool.
I was just gonna say Brent or, Mark started this off by talking about having a guest that wasn't directly in the nerdosphere, but you just proved you're equally as nerdy as us.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I didn't even know that
that's
her
cool, man.
and Zin made watches together. I know that Breitling had sold their Navitimer design to Zin to save themselves during the quartz crisis, and I didn't. That Zin is really really cool, man. I'm blown away. That's really really cool.
I think did Zinn not eventually later on start making cases for Hoyer too at a point?
I don't know that 100%. I don't
Uh,
wanna, but
I
it could
don't think
be.
so. I don't think so. Zinn is German. Hora has always had Swiss made cases and so
Yeah,
forth.
maybe I'm wrong about that, but
But I know that Zinn initially was supplying Bell and Ross.
mm,
When Bell and Ross first got started, it was Bell and Ross by Zinn underneath the
mhm,
logos back in
mhm.
the '90s and early
Yeah,
2000s
yeah,
until Bell and Ross went off their own way, and now they're making their square monstrosities. But anyways, Bob,
Yeah.
what's on your wrist?
so I am wearing a watch. First of all, I'm a big fan of Zinn and kind of toolier watches. I'm wearing a watch from a brand called Micro Milspec out of Norway. They make kind of modern tooly watches, a lot of pilot watches, that sort of thing. This is the field testing unit, it's called. Mark actually has a little event happening next week in Montreal, and they're going to be a part of that. So if you want to see some of their collection, that'll be at Mark's thing next week there.
Yeah,
What about
Micro Spec is really cool. We had the owner on our podcast, and they were a military supplier before they started selling to outside
mhm.
people. And there's a model, and specific model called the Milgraph, which really took off. It's a chronograph with pushers on the other side of the watch, and it's like Bob said, it's very tooly looking, and it's colorful, and people really really like it, and they're solid as hell.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about that brand. They're solid pieces. I haven't seen one yet in the flesh, but I do know that they're very, very strong, very impact. My wife, she's in a different field that I am, but she does work with a lot of these companies, and they just picked up the brand, and everybody's very happy with the brand. A lot of people are really enjoying these watches. So
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
cool.
Yeah, we participate to a lot of various watch shows around the world, and there's one watch show called Intersect. That's in the US. This year they did Los Angeles. They're going to do Austin. We did New York, Charlotte. Next year they're talking about doing Florida.
Oh, how about that?
So
Mm.
maybe if we're in your neck of the woods, you should pop by and say hello and check out the watches. It's really fun. I mean, you're a watch guy, so you'll enjoy it, and you'll get to see a whole bunch of brands you've probably never heard of, and smaller micro brands from all over the world. It's fun.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely make it. I'll make it a goal to be here in Miami or Florida whenever that comes down here for
That'd
sure.
be cool.
100%. Yeah, would love
What are
that.
you wearing there, Mark?
I've got my Findyson watch. So this is another obscure brand. This is from Germany. It is a small brand, family owned. Um, they make German steel watches using Damasco movements. So Damasco is another company similar to Zinn. It's a movement that is based off of the same parts as the ETA 2824, but redesigned with the full balance bridge, making it stronger, silicone parts, and all that happy stuff. And it's encased in a iron core, iron cage, so it's anti-magnetic. The reason why I'm wearing this, I've had this for a while, and the bracelets was good, but I just couldn't get it to fit. Even despite the micro adjustments, I just couldn't get it to fit properly. And they recently updated it with female end links, and the clasp itself is completely redesigned. It's shorter, it's thinner, and now the micro adjust has 6 positions instead of 3. It's just a whole lot better than it was, and it's just infinitely more wearable. I had this watch designed for myself. Like they make a white dial version, which is what this is, um, with black hands, the crown on the other side, and a longer crown. They redesigned the crown when they made a recent update. I preferred the shorter crown. I don't know if you can actually see it in the camera, but the crown is shorter, fits in the case a little better. It's smoother. I had the polished hands put on the white dial. I like the way it glints and off the light, and usually polished hands off a white dial at angles looks black, so that's really really cool. And yeah, so this is the new clasp. It has the, those that you swing down and you just move over and then snap back into place for the adjustment. Yeah, I'm really pleased to finally get to wear this watch more often and really enjoying it. And again, the Masco movement's been really doing well for me. So very happy.
I'll definitely be checking out that watch. But it's funny that you say that because a few years back, everybody wanted brands to start implementing, start creating that easy adjustment, on the fly.
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
great to see that a lot of brands have been really listening to watch guys and people that, love watches, and, they're making people happy and they're listening. So it's awesome. It's great. Beautiful watch, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot, like you said, a lot of brands are trying to throw their hat in the ring to make these micro adjust bracelets, right? For easy adjusting. And because everybody wanted that, they weren't really doing them very well. A few brands did. Rolex obviously did it well. It took a while for Tudor to start making it properly as well, but other brands were just doing it for the sake of doing it and at the expense of the clasp. Now this is the example. This is the original bracelet that was on that watch, and the you know the end link here doesn't bend, so effectively that's how long the clasp is, and you have all this play over here that and this unsightly giant gap. It wasn't right. And the owner of Findeisen really took the time to redesign how it worked, how it fit, the tolerances. And really, I mean, they could have just lived with this. I mean, I'm really not exaggerating, but I'm very nerdy about how things fit and how I want things to fit on my wrist. And 99% of the people buying watches probably don't. I mean, this is probably fine, but they really did a great job at taking criticism, not just from me, but from others. I'm sure that might have mentioned it, and just really improving the bracelet by a lot. I mean, even the female end links, like this is a male end link over here, that forced the bracelet to stick out on either side of the watch, which is not a small watch to begin with. Now it drapes straight down from the case and just fits the wrist a whole lot better. Anyways, I'm impressed. Very happy with that. So let's get started here. Some of our listeners may not be familiar with our guest, so I'm going to do a little brief bio. So, Louis, this is your life. So here you go. So Louis Amanti is a Miami-born vocalist whose timeless style pays homage to great crooners of the past while carving out sound uniquely his own. Drawing inspiration from legends like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Michael Bublé, Louis has built a career around sophisticated vocals, classic songwriting, and unforgettable live performances. Born Louis Andrew Espindola, he has Cuban and Italian heritage and has helped shape both his musical identity and his appreciation for enduring craftsmanship. Since beginning his professional career at 19, Louis has earned more than 5 million streams across digital platforms with listeners worldwide. A defining moment of his career at age 25 when 16-time Grammy Award-winning producer David Foster invited him to perform at the Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy Gala, where he shared the stage with Foster to perform classics including That's Amore and Save the Last Dance for Me. He has also collaborated with acclaimed producer Julio Reyes Capello and on his original music, including Rolling of the Dice and his duet Sweet and Gentle with actress and recording artist Flora Martinez, has amassed more than 2 million streams. His rendition of Rupert Holmes' Hymn has also found a wide audience, earning placement on Spotify's jazz pop editorial playlist. Away from the microphone, Louis is a passionate watch collector, which he's just proved, uh, whose collection reflects the same appreciation for timeless design that defines his music. Today, we're excited to explore the intersection of music, craftsmanship, and collecting with a performer who understands that much of the great mechanical watch, the finest things in life, are built to stand the test of time. Once again, welcome, Louis.
I could have not said that way better. You know what? I think I'm gonna hire you, Mark, to come out to the shows, or just
He can be your hype man.
he's gonna be the hype man at the beginning of the ad.
This is Louis, and check out his watches.
Guys, thank you so much. It's really an honor to be here. I'm a fan of yours, and I think that what you guys are doing for the watch community, for the watch world, especially for people that are curious to get into this hobby and don't know how to, I think you guys are doing such a great service to them, and it's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, I
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
it. Thank you
Thanks
for
for
being our
coming on.
first
Yeah.
100% watch nerd, or I think you might have proved me wrong there. You might be just a watch nerd who happens to sing.
I think that's what it is. Look, I came into my story with watches, guys, and I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to, but about myself too much. But I got into watches because my grandfather used to love, like, he didn't collect, but he used to really appreciate watches, and he would always take me out to the mall when I was a kid, and we used to just stop by, the Patek boutiques and the Vacherons, and he would just stand there and look at the watches, and he would be just looking at them, and I would just be there. I'm like, Grandpa, what are you looking at? And then eventually, when I got a little bit older, I started realizing, how beautiful these things were. And my father, in his house, when I was growing up, he was a salesman, and he won, like, a year, he won, like, top salesman of the year for the company that he was in, and they gifted him a Tag Heuer Link watch. And that was, I can't remember exactly the model name, but it was like the one that kind of looked like the Yachtmaster Platinum dial one. And he would always keep it in a drawer. He never wore it. And when he was never around the house, I would always go downstairs. I knew where it was, and I would just pull it out and I would put it on my wrist. And it was just like a connection that I always had with watches. I was always fascinated with them. And then got into the James Bond movies, and then the Submariner, the Sean Connery Big Crown Sub came into the picture. I think, like almost a lot of guys out here who are listening, it was a huge, huge, like, ta-da watch that, like, and then that's where Rolex came in. Like a lot of people, I started off with, loving Rolex. I was a Rolex fanboy from the start. And then I started going out to the mall, and to stores, to boutiques, and I would start asking people that would work in there, "Hey, can I try that out? Can I see that watch?" And I was, I don't know, 11, 12 years old, 13 years old, and they would be so kind to me. And then I made a promise to myself that once I would start, getting my career on the way, that I would get myself my first watch. And I kept the promise, and I got my, through hard work and, through sweat, I was able to get my my first Rolex, and that was a great moment in my life, in my watch journey.
Very, very
That's
cool.
awesome, man.
So
Yeah,
let's
it's
start with
really
some music questions to get the ball rolling here.
sure.
So crooners have a timeless quality. What drew you toward that style instead of following modern trends?
My grandfather, when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to listen to anything else that wasn't just classical music or jazz. It wasn't allowed. I couldn't hear, Biggie. I couldn't listen to Tupac. Couldn't listen to rock. I couldn't listen to anything. It was just jazz, and it always, pissed me off because I would see other people listening to other music, and I wanted to listen to that music. But throughout the years, I started understanding why he did that, and couldn't be any more grateful to him. But it started through there. I started listening to all the great Sinatra songs, great Tony Bennett songs, and I fell in love the older I got, and I started really paying attention to the lyrics to these songs. And when I got into high school, I was sports guy. I was a baseball player. Um, I decided I wanted to give it a shot, and the only music that I knew how to perform, how to sing, how to do was the classic standards, the American songbook. And I started focusing on that, and that was sort of the part of me. That was part of sort of the commence to my journey. But it was because of my grandfather that really was very, very tough on me, on the music that I would listen to and the movies that I would watch. So it was because of him.
Do you, like, in the world of like the modern pop trends in the music industry, do you find yourself swimming upstream a little to a certain degree, or is there a growing appetite for your style of music, do you think?
So there's always a growing appetite for my music. I think one thing that does help is that there's not a lot of people that do these songs.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that there is a growing appetite always for, oh, who else forms these songs? Who else writes music in this sort of style of music? Uh, find myself more leaning towards the pop side. I'm always trying to figure out how can I improve my craft? How can I create music that not only maybe caters to an older generation or to maybe people our age that appreciate the songs, but I want to always find a way that I could get into maybe, try to pinch a nerve with younger people.
Mhm.
And I think the way to do that is by being authentic, is by keeping your style, but at the same time figuring out ways that you can add different elements to your recordings and stuff. So yeah, I'm both.
Yeah.
I I'm very hungry to create new music and to create a product, and even on shows to bring instruments and sounds that are modern, but at the same time being authentic to myself and original, that I keep the same essence alive.
Mhm. That's cool.
So you grew up in Miami with the Cuban and Italian roots.
Yeah.
How have your cultures shaped your music and maybe even your taste in watches?
Yeah, that's an interesting mix. Not a lot of people have that mix. It's meatballs or rice and beans, what I tell people. The other part of the question was, I'm sorry.
How has it shaped your music and your taste in watches?
Well, I think that they're both very similar, as we were talking before we went on recording here. I think that uh, you know, both need a lot of time. They need a lot of quality. You need to have people that, in the watch world, you have people that have different jobs, right? You have people that assemble the movement. You have others that polish the watches. In music, you have the same thing. You have people that write music. You have people that you have a producer who's in charge of what's going on with the session, the vision of the artist, bringing that alive. And then you have the musicians, which is probably one of the most important parts of a recording, I would say. So it's little things that make everything, make the product what it is, great. Uh, so I think that's where I would be able to put those two in par. Uh, Me appreciating great quality things in life. Quality by things. What I mean by quality, because that could be misunderstood. Quality things that were made to last. Things that are meant to really reach deep in your heart and your soul. Uh, And I think that music, that's what I always try to do. I try to make music that is not going to be popular maybe for like a week, for a year or 2 years. I try to make things that are going to last forever. That, your kids are going to enjoy, your grandfather's going to enjoy, your great kids are going to enjoy. Just things that are timeless. And I think that when you combine great watches and music, great songs, they both come in hand in hand.
So when you were first kinda getting into music and getting into singing, who was the singers you tried to maybe imitate before you found your own voice?
Yeah, Sinatra, 100%.
Yeah.
Sinatra. I started listening to Sinatra, and the way that he would phrase a song, that he would make it so personal. Like when he was telling you, I love you, he was really telling you that I love you. When he was singing a sad song from, like, for example, Only the Lonely, that great album, you really felt the emotion that was behind that, because he would sing a song like he was reading a poem.
Mhm.
Uh, so I really got attached to Sinatra, and then Tony Bennett. I think Tony Bennett, the way that his musical talent, his preparation for his bel canto um, technique into singing. I think that always impressed me very much. I think he's one of the greatest singers of all time. And it was so incredible that he his dream was to be able to sing until he died. And that was, I mean, he practically did that. He was 90 something years, 95, 94, and he was singing at Radio City Music Hall. I mean, I don't know a lot of people that could do that. So
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, those two were the ones that really got me like, wow, what about that? You know, like, how about that? You know,
So if Sinatra was a chairman of the board, does that make you like some kind of a middle manager or something?
I think it makes me a guy that I was trying not to laugh on that one.
I'm sorry, I just had to.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh boy. So the style you perform requires a lot of control. Does singing feel natural now, or is it still something you actively work on every day?
Actively work on it every day, but the more that you do it, the easier it gets. You know, the less stressful it gets. And you know, music is a craft that requires a lot of time, uh, a lot of years to be able to not perfect, because I don't think you ever perfect art, but I do think that to be able to get into a place where you feel comfortable, uh, knowing that you're giving yourself 100%, I think that takes a while. It takes a long time. It takes a long time. Miles Davis said it the best. It takes a long time to be able to find your own sound. So people start imitating, but you have to start imitating. You have to start somewhere. And then later on, if you're smart enough and if you're willing enough to really take the hits, uh, you will little by little start finding the things that make you original and unique from others.
So you mentioned about Biggie and Tupac and that sort of being a forbidden fruit as a younger man,
Yeah,
and a lot of young guys are attracted to the forbidden fruit.
sure.
What when you're alone in the car right now, what does your Spotify playlist look like?
So that's an interesting question. That's funny because I like to listen to everything. When you write music, you gotta listen to like everything. Like I listen to things that are from like Japanese music to Chinese to Korean to salsa to rap music. But I've been like in a yacht rock state for like the past 2 years, and I can't get Michael McDonald off my like my playlist thing going. So and everybody laughs, but I love Michael McDonald, Christopher Cross, those guys, Steely Dan, Hall and Oates.
Yeah,
You know that's the kind of music that my heart right now is gravitating towards to right now.
nice.
My ears, I guess.
That's great. The style
Yeah.
you perform requires a lot of control. Does singing feel? Oh, I've already said that one, right? I skipped it. Yeah. So people hear crooner and think
If you
effortless.
so let me answer that question. If you drink a whole bottle of scotch, it will require a lot of it will require a little more control. But if you don't drink, the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah, I'm gonna not even read the next question. I'm just gonna ask you. You said you every day practiced and singing, and the more you sing, the better. Is there ever a worry of like the pipes getting worn out?
Yes, yes. You know, you gotta really take care of yourself. You know, you have to do the things that are necessarily important to the throat. You have to drink plenty of water. You have to sleep. I try to get at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep, and I try to do no more than 3 shows a week, wherever I'm doing. I think more than three is abusing your vocal cords a little. So uh, yeah, do the things that matter. Sleep, drink, try to eat healthy, and uh, and not overdo it with my voice. You know, with too many shows.
Even 3 shows a week sounds like a lot to me. Are they
It
like
is.
back to back, like 3 days in a row, or is it like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing?
So sometimes you have like, for example, I go to New York once a month, and I do sometimes 3 shows back to back in a row. Uh, I do them and it feels great because once you have the technique, the bel canto technique, or you sing well, I mean, you can get through it, but the vocal cords need rest, they need hydration, and I recommend what I like to do is I like to at least take 1 or 2 days, one day of a break before I do another show. You know,
Yeah, makes sense. So you were invited by David Foster at 25.
yeah,
That must have been surreal.
it was.
How did the opportunity come about?
Yeah, so about 10 years ago, I was working with a very talented lady who right now she was actually the one that created. She was one that created um, Debbie Ohanian. She created the what was the show called? Buena Vista Social Club play in New York, which was running for a few years, and now they're going on a tour. She was the one that created that, and I met her here in Miami, and we kicked it off pretty well. And she said, "Hey, I think you should meet one of my friends. He's a great photographer. His name is Bruce Weber, and he's done photography for everybody. And he's got a lot of contacts. If let me put you in contact with him." So we met, and we had dinner, and we started talking. He did a really beautiful documentary. I don't know if you guys are really into the jazz scene, but there was a great trumpet player and singer. His name was Chet Baker, and he did one of his last documentaries for Chet Baker. And we were talking about it. He says, "So what would you like?" And at the time, I really wanted to work with David Foster. So he said, "Well, I know David pretty well. Let me send him an email, and let me see if what happens out of here." So he sends him an email the week after he calls me. He says, "Hey, Louis, David is open to welcoming you into his house and to meeting you and to play something with you, and see how that goes." And I took a flight the month after to LA, and I met him at his home in Beverly Hills, and it was the most nervous I've ever been in my whole entire life. That was quite of an experience.
More nervous than coming on this podcast? I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, this comes second. How about that? but yeah, so I meet David, and he invites me to do a show with him, which was the muscle dystrophy that we did together, and the charity event that we did. And then from there, we kicked it off, and I did a few other shows with him. And he was great. He's been a mentor of mine. At the time, he was in a position in which he didn't want to produce and record music. He just was creating his own hitman show, which now it's been very successful. And yeah, but we stay in touch. He's a great mentor of mine. And from time to time, whenever he needs an extra singer, he calls me. He says, "Hey, Louis, you want to work with me?" I'm like, "Yeah." Or whenever he's in Miami, we have dinner, and I sing it wherever he's performing at. And it's a great relationship. He's a great guy.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's a watch dude. He's a watch dude too. He likes particularly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Was there a piece of advice that David gave you that really stood out?
Yeah. He told me, I had just recently recorded Rolling of the Dice, which was my second original song. And David had heard it. He was in Palm Beach, and I had driven over there to see David. And he listened to the song, and backstage he put his hand on my heart like this, David. And I've never told this to anybody because it's very, very, very personal, but he told me, "You got everything that it takes. You don't have to ask for any advice. Just do you and just keep going. And life will help you out throughout the way." And that's been the advice that I've always had, that I've always had that advice in my mind. And that's always been, my motto, just keep on going, be the best that you can be, and try to get better. There's always something to improve. You're never at that point and just keep going. You know, that's my motto.
That's really
It's
cool. Man, it
amazing,
must have
man.
felt amazing.
After that whole experience, and it seems like it's an ongoing experience, your relationship with him, but in t in watch terms, speaking in watch terms, is there maybe a grail performer you'd like to work with or even a venue you dream of performing it?
Oh man, there's a lot of great artists out there. I love Lady Gaga.
Mm,
I think Lady Gaga, when Tony Bennett helped, you know, when she was going through that stage in her career, Tony picked her up and she just took out those jazz songs. I think Lady Gaga is one artist that I think that I really have a lot in common with, and I think that that's an artist that I would like to work with. Adele is another one that I think is incredible. Um, there's just so many artists, so many great artists. But yeah, I would say Lady Gaga and Adele. You know,
Yeah, a number of years ago, Lady Gaga did a, medley of Bowie songs at, I
yes,
think it was the Grammy Awards after he had passed away, and that opened my eyes to her talent. She was always a great singer. I'm not really into her music, but when she did that and she was able to basically be Bowie for, a medley, it was incredible. It blew me away. And then the Tony Bennett collaboration was pretty awesome as well.
yeah, and she also did a it was a medley or it was just the beginning song of The Sound of Music. Do you remember that when she did The Sound of Music?
Yeah.
That was incredible on live TV. That you know, like the Tony Bennett stuff was like, okay, she's a real artist. She's like, you know, she's the real deal. But when I heard that Sound of Music and how complicated it is to sing
Yeah.
uh that song in particular, like, okay, you know, hats off to you. You know, you are one of the best, and she is one of the best. And you know,
She's an incredible artist.
she's incredible. Star is Born, all those songs that she did, that she co-wrote it. Yeah, she's incredible. She's in my book. She is top three modern times, top three, no
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is a little strange though. There
Well,
there was this interview with David Letterman years and years and years ago. And boy, Letterman was so uncomfortable. It was I don't know if it was an act or she was playing with him or she was but boy was it ever a strange and it's memorable. I mean, I remember it. It was like 20 plus years ago. So
yeah,
guess that was
yeah,
the point.
yeah. I remember when I don't know if you guys remember this, but when she came into there was like one year that she came into the Academy Awards with inside an egg. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There were strange times, but she that egg hatched and she became what she is today, one of the finest stars. You know, I would
Yeah,
say.
just like your advice. She's being her and she's just plowing through and doing her and she's freaking incredible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyways, sorry, Bob, go ahead.
No, no problem. So many performers have routines before going on stage. Beyond maybe choosing a watch, do you have any routines that help you settle your nerves before a show?
Hmm. I like to take believe it or not, I like to take a shot of Japanese whiskey. That is
Okay.
really nice, and it's not to get me drunk or anything. It gives you a nice. It loosens you up a little bit.
Mm.
And with the music that I do, you got to be loosened up. You know, I don't do it every time, but when I get the chance of taking a little shot, and I don't drink it back, but just like a little shot of nice scotch. Uh, I enjoy it. I also enjoy to meditate a lot, and obviously going through my pre routine, which is the vocalization, the getting ready to perform. You know, putting when you sing, you don't sing through the properly. You don't sing through the throat. You sing through the diaphragm, and then you're putting your voice in the mask. You
Mhm.
have like about eight holes here, and that's where you want to put it so it projects the voice, and you don't strain your vocal cords as much.
Hmm.
So to be able to get there, um, you need to be able to vocalize. So you get your vowels correctly, and that's what I try to do every time.
So I've been listening to a lot of your stuff. I listened to the John Legend cover you recorded, All of Me, and you really made it sound you. You
Different.
made it your own. When you're listening to music from other artists in other genres, maybe even, are you constantly rearranging, rephrasing them in your mind?
Yes. Uh,
Yeah.
I like to co-produce with real producers because I think it's important that what the artist really gets across to the producer what exactly is that it's in their mind. And when you have a great relationship with a producer and an artist, I think that's when the magic really does happen in terms of arranging a song. Uh, All of Me, that song was really hot at the time when I recorded my first album. And so fun to do. Rudy, who was my first producer for that album, uh, we're going through hundreds of songs, um, and he said, "How do this song is pretty hot." So going back into your one of your first questions that you asked me about, what is it? Am I focused on like the older stuff or like trying to get into newer stuff? We were trying to create an album, my first album, that were newer songs, but with that old touch. And All of Me was one of the songs that we would just keep on going back to, on the list because it was very hot. But I always had the idea, what if we turned this song into a jazzy mid-swing feel with some horns in the back? I think it'll give it a different perspective and people will enjoy it. And we brought in a trio and we heard it and we thought that, yeah, I think we can really make this thing work. So we produced it. He produced it. I recorded it. We mastered it, and it's been one of those songs that, from the younger generation, from my catalog up to now, that I get people from time to time come up to me and say, "Hey, I love that song that you did, the All of Me song." Well, I never expected to hear it in such a different way, in a different approach, and that's what I try to always focus on with every recording. And if people tell me, "Oh, you sound like Michael Bublé," like artists sometimes get, or it sounds like this other person, then I didn't do my job properly because my job is to
Mhm.
create original material, whether it's creating songs, original songs, or creating a cover song, for example. It has to be original, not copying somebody else.
And what makes you actually choose a song or a standard to record? What does it have to do to earn a place in your repertoire?
Okay, it has to really pinch a nerve inside of me. The lyric has to, I have to relate to the lyric. If I don't believe in the lyric, or if I haven't lived in the lyric, or I haven't seen somebody who has lived through what the song is saying, then I wouldn't touch it.
Mhm.
And if it gives me butterflies, literally when I listen to a song, like a really powerful song, I get goosebumps everywhere and I get teary eyed. If it doesn't give me that, then I'm not going to be able to give it that attention, that thing that song needs. So I wouldn't touch it. If it does,
Mhm.
I write it down and I say, okay, we can record this now, or we can leave this for some time in the future. But that's how I do things. It's gotta pinch a nerve. It's gotta do something inside of me that drives me nuts. And then I know, okay, I could perform this song. Now let's create a different approach, an original approach to it, in which people can really enjoy and say, well, it might not be a new song, but it is a new take on it. And that's where I focus on, and that's what the song has to do to me.
Yeah, it'd be kind of hard to sing "I Did It My Way" at your age.
You know what? I think that's an
Or have you already?
so in live performances, I have sung the song. It's a song that I don't relate to
Not yet.
because I haven't done it my way. Right, right. I haven't done it my way. So I don't sing that song, but sometimes, for example, I did a show in, where was it? It was in Pompano Beach at a small theater, and people started screaming, "My way, my way, my way." And then they kept on screaming. I was like, oh God. So, I got to make these people happy. So we did my way, and it came out well, but I didn't feel that it was 100% authentic because I'm not there yet in that point in my life. I want to be there. Hopefully I get the chance to. But exactly, that's a perfect example of songs that I wouldn't dare to touch.
Now, here's a question: the crowd's screaming "My way, my way, my way." How do you produce those lyrics? What, do you just know them, or is there like a I don't know, karaoke thing that pops up and you can just sing a song? How would you do that? And how would the band? Like, what if they don't know the song? What if everybody knows the song except for the guitarist? And they're like, well, what? I can't do this.
So
How does
usually
that
the
work?
people, so yeah, so if people don't know it, the musicians don't know it, obviously I wouldn't touch it. But usually the people that I work with, everybody knows a song like My Way. They know the chords.
Yeah, I
And
would. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah,
and they have an app which has practically all the charts. So you can just write it down and you can just start playing the chords and the band starts playing and I start singing. So it's really not hard. Um, but to going back to the first part of that question, uh, remember, Mark, I've been listening to these songs since I was 2 years old.
yeah.
So the amount of songs that I know by memory, it's incredible. I think more than anything that I would say that it's impressive about at least my side of the music would be the amount of songs that I know off the top of the bat, off the top of my head from these standards.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. You ever muff up a lyric and just
Yeah,
invent something, or?
absolutely. All the time. All the time, man. All the time. But I usually come up with something that rhymes or that, and then like I'm singing, it's like I'm singing the next part of the song. I'm like, did I just say that?
Yeah.
And like people are like, and I'm like, okay, nobody, cared. Nobody noticed. Just keep on going. But that happens once in a while. It's normal.
And you could probably like you said, you know these words off the top of your head, and you're probably singing and at the same time thinking in your head about some, did I just do that? Like you just said, but the words are coming out of your mouth or the song. That's
Yeah.
to me
So
that's impressive.
it's usually like one word for me. I mean,
Yeah,
some
yeah,
people forget maybe like a whole line, but for me, it's like usually like one or two words.
that's cool.
And then I go back to the original lyric and I'm like, did I just say that? It's funny. And then I laugh it out later.
You could have built an entire career singing standards,
Yeah.
and yet you've released original music. Why was writing your own material important that you needed to branch out that way?
It's a great question because I feel that I am a artist that needs to create original material. I feel that I have things that some people would be interested to know, to hear about my life, to hear about journeys. I feel that I need to write things that inspire me, things that might worry me, and I think that when you have when you feel a certain when you feel that you have things that you need to write and that you want people to listen and pay attention to you, I feel like you have to just be an original artist. And there's nothing wrong with being a cover artist or with just singing in my the music that I do, the jazz songs, which I enjoy doing. But I feel that to me there's much more. There's much more. I'm a person. I've I've lived life, and I feel that people want to know about me. And I feel that the best way that I can talk about myself or the best way that I could, tell somebody about my journey is through music. And music is so powerful. And I, you know, deep inside, that's all I want. Is I want people to know me, to listen to me, and to enjoy, the art that we're all creating together.
So,
Some people don't, excuse me, some people don't feel that way.
mhm.
Some people feel like they just want to, you know, record a Whitney Houston song in a different manner and just go on tour and do a show filled with, an hour and a half show filled with some of the greatest music of all. And they sing it their way and they sing their life through those words. But I, I feel that it's important to keep the songs that I do alive. As we said before, doing them in an original way. You don't want to ever copy somebody. And at the same time, introduce new songs that people are going to, you know, say, hey, you know, he gets me, you know, he understands what I'm going through in my life right now. And that's important to me. That's the most important thing to me, more than anything else.
So I love hearing about the process when it comes to experts in almost any field, but what does it look like for you when it comes to songwriting? Is it something that like just hits you out of nowhere, or do you set some time aside and sort of hammer it out? Like, how does that work for you?
So for me, it works for everybody, it works differently. Usually people go into a studio, you have a guy that plays the piano, and then you have two or three songwriters together. Uh, and they write the melody of the song. You write part by part, right, of the song, and then the lyrics come after. For me, the way that I work is I like to write the lyrics alone. I like to write the lyrics when my mind is not going at 100, which is usually the whole entire day. So I write, I like to write the melody first, the chords, you know, the chord progressions, everything first. And then what I do, and the lyricists hate me, they hate me for this, but they've never told me, but I'm sure they hate me for this, but I get the song, and then I swear this is what I do for every song. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I make a cup of tea or I make a cup of coffee. I sit down and I start thinking of what the song reminds me of. And then when I have a topic, which is, I think that's the hardest part of writing music, lyric, is the the commence of the lyric. What am I going to write about? Am I going to write about love? Am I going to write about, you know, somebody who got their heart broken or whatever it is? It's hard to come up with the topic because then the lyrics flow. Because once you have an idea, then you start. So for me, it's thinking about what am I going to write, and then at usually around 4:30, 4:45, it's when I start getting a pen and I start, you know, thinking of a person or thinking of something in my life, and then I start penciling it down and I start writing it. And it takes me about literally it takes me, you know, it takes me about an hour to an hour and a half to complete everything.
Hmm.
And then I go take it to a lyricist and they're like, what the, you know, WTF? And then I tell them, okay, let's change a couple of things and let's add you into the lyricist and let's just change whatever you think could be better, or what is it that you like, and you know. But I like to write a base, have a base, a structure, a blueprint of the lyric, and then we take it back into the studio, and then it's just easy from there. But I need to wake up early in the morning to be able to be in that, you know, that meditative state. I need to be able to be with just a clear mind to be able to write things. That's for me. I can't go into a place and if we're together right now, you tell me, Louis, write me a lyric, I wouldn't be able to do it. You know, it just wouldn't work.
So speaking of your original music there, Rolling of the Dice feels like a fitting title for anyone pursuing music professionally.
Yeah.
When in your career did you feel like you were truly betting on yourself?
When I decided to not go for a college career and go for a professional music career. I think that's a very hard bet right there. That's a big bet. You know, everybody in my family has been either lawyers or doctors or, you know, and they expect high expectations of you, you know, and when I said, yeah, I'm gonna pursue this, you know, well, you're kind of crazy, right? You know, you're kind of nuts. You know, you don't know anybody in the music industry, and I didn't know anybody. So I started off cold turkey and just believed in myself. And it's been, to be honest with you, it's been incredible because what I have been able to learn from myself and to grow as an artist, knowing that I don't know anybody, I don't have anybody, and I'm just going to make this on my own. It's you got to really bet on yourself and you got to believe in yourself. And that was the moment, Mark, that Mark and Bob, that I really took that bet on myself. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to study law because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to study law. And I'm going to follow my passion and what I believe that I could do. To now, knock on wood, I think I've been pretty good. I've been pretty there. So I'm happy. I tell people, follow your instincts, follow your dreams, and be original. That's what I tell people.
So for a while you had and maybe it's still a thing, you had a residency at, I think it's Fiana in Miami Beach.
Yes.
Are you still there?
Yeah. So
what does a typical week look like for you then with your gigs?
So I do my shows, my personal shows, and that depends on where am I performing. But when I live in Miami, so I work at the Fina Hotel, and I've been there for 7 years now. And Alan Fina, who's the owner of the hotel, really took me in. He put his arm around me, and he says, "Listen, we're going to do big things together." And he gave me an opportunity to be able to perform down here, to create a show in which we've done special things. He's expanding now his hotels. He just opened up in New York a year ago, and now he's opening one in the Red Sea. So, we're doing a lot of special things together. I've been at Fina for all these years, and it's been one of the best things. How does my week look? I have 2 shows. I work on Mondays, and I have a show on Saturdays with my band, with my trio, or with my quartet. And then from there, other days that I'm not working, I write music. I am, meetings, trying to see what other concerts can we do, what other shows, small shows can we do around the country, and just trying to stay busy. Exercise. You got to keep exercising. Songwriting and performing. These shows really take a lot of energy, so you got to be in mental shape. You got to be at 100. And you're always being judged. You're being judged by the people that come watch you that are spending money.
Mm-hmm.
You're being judged by critics, people that write on newspapers. When you work in a concert, or you're doing a show at Fina, which is like, Fina is like the #1 place here in Miami. You always have critics, and you got to be in your A game. So those are things that, meditation is huge for me. I try to do. And now, especially that the hotel is expanding, the venue, the hotel is expanding. Now we're going to start doing a lot more shows, to come. But I'm in New York once a month, and I have several shows here in South Florida. And when I do my concerts, it's either in LA, or it's right now we're working in different spots. I want to go to Canada. Canada has a big market for great songs, for the songs that I do, and I want to expand up there in the north. So it's important to me.
Hit us up if you're ever up here, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Love to come.
100%.
Do you know the dates that you're going to be in New York in October?
I'm going to be in New York. The date was, I'm going to tell you right now. So I'm going to be the 10th, the 11th. I have 2 shows on the 10th and the 11th in New York. And then I'll be back in New York. Probably, we still haven't finalized the dates, but it'll probably be either on the 1st or on the 2nd of October.
It's a shame because in New York, there's the wind-up show for watches on the weekend of the 16, 17, 18.
Okay.
And there's multiple shows. Watch Time has a show there. So there's probably going to be about close to 200 brands exhibiting, including high-end, which Watch Time has, IWC and all the bigger brands. And then Warner One has everything from $500 watches to $10,000 watches. And then the show that I'm attending, that I'm working with for Isotope, It's called The Hype at the Draper Hotel. It's right next to where Wind Up is.
Yeah.
12 brands, all kinds of different independent watches. So if you can extend your stay, by all means, that's a weekend that, it's New York watch weekend.
And this is on October.
Yeah, October 16th. 16, 17, 18, if I'm not mistaken. So the week after you're there, unless you stay for a week. I mean, if you
Yeah,
can.
I can definitely stay a week. As of now, I'm working on negotiating on which day am I going to go and figuring that out. But I the 16th and the 17th was completely open for me. So yeah, I could.
I'll send you some
figure
links
that out.
after we
Yeah,
finish
yeah.
of the shows, and especially Wind Up. I mean, I love the show that we do, but if you've never been to a Wind Up show with Warner Wound, it's insane. I mean, it is 150 brands all under one roof, several floors. It's crazy the amount
Wow.
of people that go, and it's so much fun. It's a lot of fun.
Let me ask you guys something. I've been you guys have been interviewing me all day here, but I wanted to ask you guys, how did you guys get into watches? What was that thing?
I don't know. I was a only child, and I found at a very young age that a watch is something that can accompany you everywhere. A little memento or whatever it is, and I found solace in having a watch. I don't know. That sounds stupid. Now that I said it out loud, but it's
No,
been since I was a little kid, and I've always had and a fascination for them, and it's just grown ever since. And so I've been collecting seriously for a solid 30 plus years.
yeah,
Yeah, for me, I like my father always had just a cheap Timex Easy Reader, that type of thing, with the Speedle stretchy bracelet or Spidle, whatever, however you pronounce it. But I remember he had an Indiglo version of one of those at one point in time, and I just thought that was the coolest thing as a kid. And then eventually I got an Iron Man digital,
nice.
but also had the Indiglo, and it was just like the awesomest thing. And I sort of went away from watches and came back as an adult. My wife gave me a couple of watches as gifts, and I started searching things on YouTube, like, what is this? I had just a fashion watch, a chronograph, and I didn't even know how it worked. Like, it was like a Hugo Boss or something like that.
Right.
This is 12 or 15, 13, 14 years ago. So I started searching, how does that work? And then I found forums and all of this stuff, and it was a whole world it was just an instant rabbit hole for me. And then,
Yeah, once you go down the rabbit hole, there's no way of coming back up, man. That's
Yeah.
I'm buried down deep in it right now, for
Yeah.
sure. When you have a watch podcast, you're in.
yeah.
And there's a lot of watch podcasts now.
But yeah.
So
Yeah,
last
that's
question
cool.
about the music stuff here. You've accumulated millions of streams. Does streaming success change how you measure songs' impact compared to performing live? Say.
So can you go into more detail on that question? Because I want to make sure I answer that question properly.
Yeah. So how do you compare music streams, like the volume of music streams, and how that success compares to singing in front of a live audience? Which one is more impactful to you?
It's different. My heart says performing live is more important than anything else. Because that's what I like to do. I like to perform. I like to be in front of an audience and sing. But it's if you don't have the amount of streams, people listening to you, it's kind of hard to get your music out there, and it's hard to be able to get shows filled. People discover you through these songs, and then they want to go watch you perform.
Yeah.
That's how usually it works these days. Yeah, it used to be back then. It used to be, well, I'm on the radio driving to work or at home and listen to music on the radio, and you discover artists through the radio. And then who is this guy or her? Who's she? And then you start listening to her music. You buy an album back then, or a CD or cassette, and then you follow the artist, and then you go to their shows. But now everything is digital. Now everything is streaming. Apple, Spotify, anywhere. And so they're both, I would say they're both the same. They're both very, very impactful. You need to have good streams and a good organic traffic coming into your songs and listeners to be able to later on create a tour, whether it's a big tour or small tour, because you need people getting into buying tickets and you need people coming into to watch your show. So from a Euphoria standpoint, I would say that live is what I enjoy the most, but both are crucially important, very important, very, very, very important.
Yeah, you're right. Of course, everybody knows that everybody curates their own listening, right? I listen to podcasts mostly. I listen to some music, but no one listens to the radio, like you said, where you can discover new things because it happens to be a hit song or it happens to be on the radio. So I guess streaming is what attracts people, and I guess you must get recommended by Spotify or whomever. If you like this, maybe you'll like this kind of thing, and then your song appears.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, I guess that is very important. Yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah, you have on Spotify, you have two kinds of playlists. You have the editorial playlists, which are created by Spotify, and then you have the recommended playlist. Oh, you like this? Check this artist out, and then
yeah,
that's
how it goes. So let's switch gears here. Let's get into some watches.
Sure.
Do you remember your first serious watch? Was it that Rolex that you first bought when you accumulated, or was there another one before that, like the Gateway?
No, that was the very first.
That was the one. You started off
watch.
with a bang.
Yeah, I started off with a bang. Yeah, it was the Yachtmaster. The blue dial had just came out. It was in 2011, I think it was, and it was the one with the platinum bezel. That was like
that is gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
And there's something about that case that just if no one's ever, like, everybody goes to the Submariners and the GMT Masters and all that stuff and those standard sport watch cases, but if no one's ever had the Yachtmaster in their hands to see the difference in the case, and for a while it had a different bracelet and clasp.
Yeah,
like the end link was different. The clasp had the same clasp as the Daytona, which was this little round circle thing that fit into a hole, as opposed to a clamshell thing. It was really a special watch. Like, good for you, man. It's a
special watch.
Your first big boy watch was a pretty impressive one.
Yeah. And like the first Rolex that really got me like falling in love with Rolex was the Yachtmaster. It was I believe it was the watch of the Rolex of the 90s. It was like it was a Submariner that never really worked because they were trying to eliminate the sub from my understanding, and they were trying to bring something a little bit more luxurious. Thank God they didn't remove the Submariner. The Submariner is a special piece. But the Yachty for me was I did a trip from Miami on a car. I did a road trip to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I'm not sure if you guys have been there, but it's so beautiful there.
Familiar with Tennessee, not that specific city, but I've been to Tennessee a couple times.
And back then, you used to have these billboards like every 15 miles, 20 miles was like a Rolex billboard. And it was, one billboard was a Yachtmaster, another one was a sub. And it was like just a Yachty and a sub. And that whole entire trip was just Yachtmaster sub. And then I just, like, at the time, it was 2003, 2004. It was just the 166 2, I think it was. Yeah, it was the 1662. And it just had the platinum dial with the old clasp. And man, that watch, like, that was like the watch. I was like, ta-da! It was like
and the red secondhand, yeah, so cool.
The red secondhand. I love that watch. That's a beautiful piece. And then that was like the watch that drove me into saying, well, maybe a Yachty would be like, eventually one day when I work and get up there, that's the one that I'll get. And it was. It was a blue dial, but the Yachtmaster changed when they changed to the newer version with the newer clasp. They changed the dial up a bit. It used to be a little more sparkly, the platinum on the dial.
Yeah, had some texture or something on it.
Yeah, but the newer one, they kind of like toned it down. So it was like, well, if I get the Yachty, I want the other one because I like the sparkle with the sun, So I went with the blue one, and I think it was a great decision. It was such a beautiful piece.
You still have it?
I don't. I moved on from it. It was It's been the only watch collecting regret that I've ever done. I wish I could have kept my first watch.
And funny enough, the Tag Link, which was the S/EL Sports Elegance, that was the model that your father had gotten for his award. That was one of the watches that launched me deep. Like I said, when I was a kid, I was always into watches, but it was always, digital things, triathlon and, Casio's, this and that. And I was, one of my first jobs, I was managing an electronics store, and the general manager of the company would hop from store to store every couple of weeks. He had one, and his was gold. And I remember how that bracelet draped and how it felt on wrist.
Yeah.
And it really made me look into Tag Heuer, and I wound up getting a Tag 1500 and so forth. But yeah, those tags were phenomenal watches.
Yeah.
Back in the day, man, they were the watch. Sorry, I enjoy side quest there.
No, that was amazing.
Yeah. We were talking about Grail performers you'd like to work with earlier. What's the watch that has you right now? Is there anything on the wish list?
Yeah. So for many years, I've been looking for a Seamaster 321 movement. That's it's a watch that not a lot of people know, and it's crazy that not a lot of people know about this watch.
Not a Speedmaster, but the Seamaster version.
Seamaster,
yeah.
So I used to be very picky. I was like, okay, I'm gonna look for it because I like things that are in great shape, and if not, it drives me nuts, especially with vintage stuff. And I was like, okay, I wanted it with the silver dial, and I wanted it just with no marks on the dial or nothing like that. Right now, after like 6 years of looking for a perfect one, which I haven't been able to find, I'm like, I don't care, whichever one pops up.
I know a couple of guys that could probably help you out here,
but it has to be a beautiful dial. It has to.
Yeah, the gray dial with the little blue accents, right?
Yeah, the registers have to be just perfect.
It's a very cool watch, funky watch, but it's cool.
And I haven't been able to find one. I haven't been able to find one yet. So yeah, that's probably one that I would consider a grail to find, and a grail because finding something that it's 60 years old in great shape, you guys know it's very difficult. Very difficult.
Once in a while though, you'll get like a new old stock one or something will pop up somewhere. Yeah, that'd be cool to find.
And sorry, Mark, to interrupt you. And it has to have the dolphin hands, not the pencil hands. It has to what I'm talking about.
Well, that's a specific one.
Yeah.
Was there one watch that made you realize that this had become a genuine collecting hobby rather than just buying a nice watch? Like, when did you realize that, oh shit, I'm in trouble now, I got a box?
When I bought my Reverso. I spent 8 years looking for a specific Reverso, which is considered the Art Deco. It's in white gold, and it's skeleton. I don't know if you guys know which one it is, but I'll send you pictures of it, so you gotta check it out. It took me 8 years to be able to find that watch. I couldn't find it anywhere. They made 200 pieces, according to Tim Masso. They made 200 pieces in a span of 12 years, I think it was. So they made very little a year. And collectors usually like to hold on to that specific piece. They made 1,000 in the rose gold version, but the white gold, it's like, if you find one, like, you better jump on it. And I actually have a very, very funny story with that watch. I got married to that watch, by the way. So that watch is probably the most, next to my grandpa's watch, that's like the most important watch that I would say I have. Because I married my wife with that watch, and it's like, I'll have that watch forever. But 8 years looking for this piece. There's a company that sells watches. They're a gray market, but they also do retail. They're in Naples, Florida, so they're like about an hour away from where I am, about an hour and 15. They're called Exquisite Timepieces. Have you heard of them? Yeah. And I'm like looking on Chrono, right? I'm always putting on for this piece. And one day it pops up, but not the picture. The picture didn't pop up on the page. It was just like a blank, whatever, picture on it. And it had the reference and it had the white gold and salmon dye. And I was like, okay, well, these guys are BSing. but they're exquisite timepieces. So they're not going to be messing around. So I probably wrote like 20 emails uh, to them, and they called me the next day and said, "Well, we have about 10 to 12 people on the list for this watch, and first come, first serve." And then I was like, "Well, listen, I know I've been looking for this thing for 8 years. It's something that I really, really want. You don't understand how much this watch would mean to me." I just started the BS. And he said, "Okay, well, where you live?" And I said, "Well, I live in Miami. I live an hour away. I can, drive over there, whatever." And he says, "Oh, well, actually, I have the watch being serviced right now in Miami." And I was like, "You can go check it out if you want. You can go take a look at it." And I was like, "Yeah, tell me, when can I go?" And he says, "Well, the gentleman who is working for me is going to pick it up tomorrow. You can go tomorrow afternoon before he ships it back to us here at Exquisite Timepieces." And I said, "Well, where's the address?" He says, "Well, it's in Pinecrest, in Pembroke Pines, Florida. This is the address." I put on the GPS. It's literally 2 minutes away from my wife's parents' house where she was living at the time.
Wow.
Can you guys believe that? So I was
That's
like,
wild.
my wife lives my girlfriend at the time lives 2 minutes away from there. I'm there every single day. Let me go and check it out. Went, took a look at it, saw it. It was beautiful. I said, "Don't even think about shipping it back to to you guys."
That's cool.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So
Yeah.
he was very nice to me because there were other people, but I guess he preferred. I guess I really busted his chops a little too much, and he saw, well, maybe I'm going to save some money on the shipping. Might as well just give it to this dude and let me get him off my back, and that's what it.
Yeah, squeaky wheel, right?
Yeah. So I got married to the watch, and it's, to this day, I think it's one of the most beautiful pieces that I have. Yeah.
So when people hear your songs, they learn a little something about you. If someone opened your watch box instead, what would they learn about Louis Amanti?
That he's a chronograph dude. He likes chronographs, and that he has a fascination for vintage and Panerai watches.
Oh, Panerai too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I
Love
saw
Panerai.
Panerai in one of your pictures on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's
I love Panerai.
1950, I think it is.
1950.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
As someone who researches extensively before buying, or are you the type of person who buys emotionally?
No, I buy, so both. So both. I research, I try to study, I try to figure out, uh, the history. I'm a history guy. So I like to study the history, the importance of why this piece is very special. And then I try to find the emotion behind everything. I try to find, well, is it special to me? What does it represent to me? Why is it that I want this piece? Why is it that, why is it exactly that I want to invest money on this thing when I can put it on something else? So, uh, so it's both. It's a little both. But if it catches my eye and it gets me interested, then I try to find the emotion behind it. And if there's a strong emotion behind it, then what I do is I give it a couple of days. If I think about it a lot and I can't stop, then usually that's when I reach out to the person and try to make the move.
I kind of figured you were one of those research guys because you mentioned looking at Tim Masso videos.
Yeah, I've had my fair shares of Tim Masso videos. That's for
So
sure.
everybody who's listening to this podcast
Yeah.
knows Tim Masso and has
Oh,
watched
yeah.
dozens
Yeah.
and dozens of his videos.
Yeah. Great stuff those guys do over there. But I think you have to have some kind of emotion, right? I mean, you guys are
Yeah.
serious collectors as well. You got to have some kind of emotion behind
Yeah.
everything.
Sometimes you question your collection. You spend a lot of time curating these watches. If you were handed right now the entire value of your collection in cash, would you build the same collection again, or would you make it completely different?
This is a good question. I'm sad I didn't think of it.
I'm happy with where I'm at,
Yeah.
100%. I have things that are, $15, to things that are, it depends,
Mhm.
I'm very happy where I'm at. Very happy. I would say the same.
No, that's good.
Judging by your IG account, your Submariner seems to get the most wrist time. However, Instagram is definitely not reality. Which watch gets the most wrist time versus the one that you admire the most? And it's pretty hot and sweaty in Miami all the time, right? So you're probably not wearing the reversal that much.
No, so I've been wearing the 25 Panerai, which came out last year, celebrating the 25-year anniversary. I love that watch.
Mhm.
And I usually the question, the hard part is not what watch am I going to wear, but it's what strap am I going to wear today with that watch.
Okay.
I have my wife bought me a beautiful gator strap, navy blue with navy blue stitching on it, and it just looks incredible with that dial. And then there's sometimes here in Miami, for example, today it's like 98, 97 degrees up here, humid. You don't want to wear a gator strap with that. A rubber strap is the way to go. So, I find myself, well, do I want to wear a gator strap or do I want to wear a rubber strap with this watch? So, but that watch has been, that one and the 911 has been like the two that recently I've been, am I going to wear this? Am I going to wear that? So,
I have a friend in Montreal that makes bespoke leather straps. Should put you in contact with him.
yeah,
He'd
please,
make you some custom stuff.
please.
Um, when you're preparing to perform, do you ever consider which watch for which show? Does that make it into the list, or do you just wear the watch you've been wearing that day?
Yeah, so I decide what color suit am I going to wear. And then from there, I decide, well, which is the dial, which are the dials that go well with the color suit that I'm going to wear. And then from there, I look at them, and the first one that hits, that comes to me, that's the one that I usually wear. That's how I do it.
I have the hardest question of the entire interview
Oh,
happening
God.
right now for you.
Let's go.
So what's more dangerous? A beautiful woman asking you to sing her a song, or a call from the AD saying the new such and such a model is in?
Man.
If Louis wasn't married, this may have been a completely different answer.
Yeah. If I wouldn't be married, that would be a completely different answer. But I'm gonna go with B, the watch. Getting a call from the AD.
Good answer for
What
sure.
people don't see is that Louis changed color a little bit. He's a little pinker than he was 5 minutes ago.
The Miami tan sort of faded away. Now it's all red like a tomato.
Yeah.
Have you ever worn a watch because it helped you get into character before stepping on stage? And for that matter, is it a character you're playing when you're on stage, or is it just authentically you? Yeah. Throw another.
So no, but yes, but no. So none of my watches, but I have a friend of mine who has a beautiful watch, which is an old company, a vintage piece. It's an old company called Juvenia. And they made a watch called El Macho, and I would like for you guys to check that out whenever you get a chance. It's called El Macho, and it was a big watch in the 80s. And it's like this, like it's got like a small case, but the bracelet's huge, and it's like all 18 karat gold. And I
Like wearing
wanted
a cuff.
yeah, it's like wearing a cuff. So I feel like what would have been like in the 80s, to like, the whole Miami scene, Miami Vice thing going on.
Yeah, the
So I
machismo.
asked him to let me the watch, and I wore it, and I kind of felt like like I was like in another time. So there I was like playing like a role there, and people were like, "What is that?" But other than that, no. That time, that specific time, yeah, and it was pretty cool. That watch is pretty cool.
Actually, that leads into my next question. Do audiences ever notice your watches?
No.
Does anybody ever come to see you and say, "Hey, I saw that watch on stage"? Or
So it's happened, but like very, very, very few. Like it's like it rarely happens. It barely happens. Like, for example, the reversal, it's the one that I usually get people going like, "Hey, wow," like, or they like I'm on stage and they go like, "Hey, nice,"
that's cool.
Yeah. but not as much. Usually down here in
That's when you stop
Miami,
singing and
people,
you just go into the crowd and hey, look at this watch, and the rest of the audience is like, "What's going on?"
yeah, yeah, or you see somebody, you go up to me like, yeah, that's a nice piece you got on. You're like, you're a watch collector? Yeah, I'm a watch collector. I'm like, oh, so, like I met a guy last week who was a watch collector from London, and just because of a watch, we kicked it off, and he started just showing me his whole entire, it's impressive collection, I must say. But it's incredible. I would say that the people that you meet in this hobby is one of the best parts about being in this hobby.
Oh yeah.
The people
You're
that you
singing
meet.
our song, man. That's
Yeah,
exactly right. That's why we
yeah,
do this.
yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, how's it for you guys? Is it like that? Like you guys are having dinner, or you're hanging out somewhere, and you see a person with a nice piece. You go up to him and like, hey, that's a nice Seiko SKX 009 you got on your wrist, and they go, yeah, yeah, you're a collector.
It really depends. If you see someone wearing a Rolex, chances are I'm not going to talk to them because it's a good chance that he bought it because it's a Rolex and it's probably a fancy watch or he saved up for it. Maybe not a watch collector. He just wanted a really nice watch, right?
Yeah,
Or there are also those finance guys that just status and whatever. But
yeah,
if I see someone wearing something obscure, like yesterday, just as an example, I mentioned before the podcast turned on, I picked up a new car. And yesterday, when I was at the dealership, I was doing the paperwork, and the dude that was helping with the paperwork was wearing a Christopher Ward,
nice.
Mm.
which is fairly rare in Canada. And this is in Cornwall, a small town outside of Montreal. And
Yeah,
I just happened to comment on it, saying, "Hey, that's nice, Christopher Ward." He's, "Oh my God, you're the first person who's ever noticed what it is." People
yeah,
tell me I have a nice watch, but they, don't realize. So that hit it off, and then we were just, forget the paperwork. It took us an hour to do it because what we were doing was talking about watches. But
Yeah.
yeah,
you're right,
yeah.
man. The community behind watch collecting is the reason why my watch hobby has elevated to such an extent. Like it's not just about watches anymore; it's about the people. We've said that before so many times.
How's it for you, Bob?
I'm a realtor, and a really good example of this actually. Last year, I did a listing presentation, and this couple said we're going to talk to 3 or 4 different agents, and I show up, and the guy had a Yema on wrist,
Oh, there you go.
Nice,
and
nice.
it's like you're a watch guy if you have a Yema on wrist, obviously.
Vintage or modern? Yeah,
His was a modern, but
okay.
he was into vintage speedies I'm trying to think of what I was wearing. I might have been wearing one of your isotopes, Mark, actually.
There you go.
And the no need to see the other agents. You know what I mean?
Oh
It was
wow.
a close deal. I got the listener, and now I'm friends with this particular gentleman. So yeah, it came in handy that one time for sure. Occasionally, I have occasionally met the odd person. I met a person that had a Zelos on wrist, which is a brand out of
That's even more
Singapore.
obscure.
Yeah,
That was like that was this year, just locally. Had a nice little chit chat, and yeah, it happens every once in a while. A lot of people aren't paying attention, just so much, but
I'm very interested with the Christopher Ward watches. I think that, like, for the prices that they're at, I think they're incredible pieces. I think they're really well made.
They're
I
at Wind Up in New York. So if you do come and find me. I'll bring you to meet Mike Pearson, who's the vice president of North America for Christopher Ward. He'll
Yeah,
walk you through the entire collection.
yeah,
plus they do have the Bel Canto. You mentioned Bel Canto a couple of
yeah,
different times. That's one of their
yeah.
more popular models right now. It's the Bel Canto, which is a really nice watch too.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's kind of an interesting
so
name to put into a watch, right? I'm sure he might have been into classical music or to
I
jazz
think
or
that was a
something.
play on words because it's a chiming mechanism. So it's a play on words that it makes music.
Yeah,
It's
beautiful,
very cool.
So
really
what
cool.
does it look like when you pack for if you're going on tour for a couple of weeks? Do you bring 3 watches
Jeez.
with
Oh man, it's
you?
a
Like
mess.
1 watch? Yeah. Well, you need one for this, you need one for the gym, that's
No,
kind of the way I am a little bit.
so you're not gonna believe me, but I only go with one.
Oh, okay.
I'm a one. I don't. I'm very, very. I want to use the word scared, but yeah, I'm very worried about if I don't have one on the wrist, somebody walks in, anything could happen. So I go with one,
Mhm.
and I make the decision on, okay, what's going to look good with everything for all day, and then that's what I do. I see people going around, and that's fine. It's just, to me, I see it as a risk, and it's something that I don't want to take that risk on.
Yeah, I get that.
Now, if you're talking about clothes and you're talking about shorts and t-shirts and suits, that's a whole big mess, man. That's shoes, Jesus. It usually
We
goes.
won't go there. It's not a shoe podcast.
It usually goes over the, what is it, the 50-pound weight mark limit that they give you in the airlines. Yeah, it usually.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Oh yeah, when I travel light. It's carry on or nothing. I don't check anything in.
So jealous right now.
Yeah, it's we do these shows around the world, and I travel with Isotope, so I always go for 2 days, 3 days max.
Yeah.
If I go to California, it's a 4-day trip, but try to pack as much as I can in just one suitcase, and normally with one watch. Like you, I don't particularly like to carry more than one watch around.
It's a risk. It's a risk, and it's a, I'd rather just take one, enjoy it, and when I get back, just swap it out for another one, and then just, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Less stress on you. Yeah.
So, in your opinion, what makes something timeless, whether it's a Sinatra song or a Submariner?
Quality makes things timeless. If things are made with the intent of, if something is made that took a long time, and it was made by people that studied what they're doing, and it was done with great detail and just, great qualities, that to me is already timeless. People are always going to enjoy that. People are always going to respect that. So a good suit is made from scratch, and it was made for you, for your body. It was used, great fabrics. That's timeless. That's never going to go out of style. Music, which is what we're talking about. Music. If you're doing a genre of music that has proven to be timeless, that has proven to really reach a lot of people, and you do it with great musicians, great songwriters, and you sing it the way that it's supposed to be, or you perform it the way it's supposed to be, that's timeless. That's never going to die. So, Tony Bennett always say, great jazz pianist Bill Evans, who made an album with Tony Bennett, 2 albums with Tony Bennett, when he got into heroin back in the 70s, and he was dying, and he called Tony Bennett about like 2 or 3 hours before he passed away, and he told him, Tony, always stick to quality. And if you stick to quality, even if it might not be the most popular thing at the moment, quality lasts. And that's where I'm at. I try to be with quality friends, quality family, quality time with the people that, that matter, quality shirts, quality everything, because it lasts, and it's truly is special. I try to stay away from things that are not quality.
Well, that's wisdom beyond your years, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Well, the gray hairs are starting to come out already, so.
And don't talk to us about gray, all right?
Hey, chicks dig the grays, okay? That's all. Come on.
Like you, I've been married, and I'm still married, so.
Yeah, myself too.
It's true. You find quality not only in things that you have to spend money, but you can find quality in every aspect of life. If you stick to those things, you'll be fine.
Is there a watch in your collection that tells your story better than any other?
Oh, man. I think story doesn't, but I think that it says who I am as a collector and as a person. I think that if sometimes you see a collection on somebody and they're like, okay, well, everything is rollers. There's no identity in this collection. But when, and it took me a long time. It really did take me a long time to understand that, these things are to collect, to reflect the kind of person that you are and who you are. It's not for anybody else to see. It's for you to enjoy and to be able to share with other like-minded people. That's it. instead of saying, that I would say that when you open it up, you will know the kind of collector that I am, what I like, what I'm into, and it has an identity. And I think that's what we all collectors, real collectors, strive for, is to have an identity as collectors, that people can go, okay, I get it. I know the kind of collector you are.
That's another good answer. You're getting good at this. What's one watch you'll never sell? Is it that Reverso?
Well, I can give you a couple. I would never sell my grandfather's. My grandfather, when I was born, he bought a Seiko dress watch. If we ever do another interview together, hopefully we do, because this has been a lot of fun. I'll make sure to bring it so you guys can see it. It's about a 32 millimeter dress watch, Seiko, and he wore that watch the first time that he carried me as a baby, and he wore that watch in every picture that I have with him. So when he passed away, the watch was given to me, and it is probably the most important watch and one of the most important artifacts or things that I have in my whole entire life. The Reversal, I'm married to that watch, and it's, the history that I have with that watch, trying to look for it, thinking I was never going to find it, and then how I found it. The story is incredible. That's another one. The 25, a gift from my wife. Let me see what else. Just the other one. I think this is pretty. I don't think I would sell this one. This is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's in from top of the show. Absolutely.
I would say those. I would say those. Oh, and the Snoopy Speedy. Pardon me, the Snoopy Speedy.
That's a great watch too.
Which my I consider him my brother. He's one of my best friend. Gifted that to me, so it's
Is
very
it the
special.
black and white Snoopy one with the glowing
No,
Snoopy, or is it the blue one with the thing on the back that moves?
the blue one with the thing on the back.
That's a cool watch, man.
Yeah.
He gifted that to me, and it's very special.
So an appreciation of watches often leads to an appreciation of other things. You were talking about shoes, shirts, all of that, but do you collect anything else, or do you have any other interests or hobbies outside of watches and music?
I like to golf. Those are my.
Oh,
That's my other big time golfer. I just enjoy the game. I enjoy being out there. It's the hardest thing to ever do, but at the same time, it's very rewarding when you do something right, and you meet great people, just like in the watch community. You meet really great people out there.
well, I really enjoy golf too, but you're not going to want to golf with me because I'm not quality.
Wow. Well,
At all.
but look, when somebody answers a question like that, you already know they're probably a +5 or a +6 or a +7 right off the bat. And when somebody wears a Travis Matthew cap like you got on, Bob, 100% you're a +5.
Every time someone brings up golf, it reminds me of Robin Williams' sketch where he talks about the invention of golf. He puts on a Scottish accent.
Oh, that's so funny, man. Oh, man.
So we take a hole, and we got a little stick and a ball, and you hide it in the hole. He says, "Oh, that's like pool." No, we put the whole 300 yards away. We put trees and water.
18 holes.
Exactly. So you do that once. No, we do it 18 times. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a link to that in the show notes just for fun.
Forever, man. That's pretty good.
All right. So how about some quick rapid fires, real quick?
Sure.
Rolex or Patek?
Patek.
Manual or automatic?
Manual.
Leather strap or bracelet?
Can I say depending on the watch?
Sure.
Yeah. You
Okay,
can
depending on the
whatever you
watch.
like.
Vintage or modern? Vintage or modern?
Vintage.
Chronograph or GMT?
Chronograph.
One watch for life. I think I know this one, but
Yeah. Reverso.
yeah.
One singer for life.
Sinatra.
One album everyone should own.
Only the Lonely by Frank Sinatra.
Oh, that's such a good album. One watch every collector should experience.
Reverso.
Nice.
Yeah, you know what? Until someone's actually played with the reverso, like actually reversed, you don't get it. It sounds stupid, but you don't get it.
You
It
don't
is
get it. And you don't
unbelievably cool.
understand, and you don't understand that it's one of the greatest designs in watch history, period. It's top 3. I mean, it's got to be top 3, at least top 5. But in my book, it's top 3. You know, yeah, there are other great watches, you know, that have great, you know, the Speedmaster, for example, was the first watch that went to the moon, and everything that, all the exams that the tests, rigorous tests that it passed. But when you look at design, when you look at watch architecture, I mean, it's hard to not say that the reversal is not a top 3 piece right there. You know, that's very special.
Yeah, I remember seeing a special reverso. I can't remember. It's a magazine. This was back in the days when magazines existed. It was a thing that people collected.
Yeah.
There was a specific reverso that was loaded from the side of the case. It had a dial on both sides. I can't remember the model.
Okay.
And boy, oh boy, the technique and the amount of artistry to put that watch together is beyond words.
A lot of people don't. The people that are into the watch collection, like that are collectors and stuff, they know how special JLC is.
Yep.
But Jason Lecoultre is such a special brand, and like if you like your favorite brand, like people like Patek, Vacheron, all these companies, JLC made movements for these people when they couldn't make movements. You know, JLC
the
never
watchmaker
asked
to the watchmakers.
the watchmaker. JLC never asked another company to make a movement for them. Never. Them and Breguet are up there.
So 2 last questions, and we're gonna let you go have a great weekend. If you could go back now and give your 19-year-old self one piece of advice before stepping into this industry, the music industry, what would it be?
Slow down, 1. And 2, I'm going to give you 3. Slow down, original, and don't be scared to make connections, to talk to people, because those are the people that are going to help you.
Good advice.
What about watch advice for your 19-year-old self? That's not on our outline. That's just something that's coming
what you like.
Yeah.
Don't buy because of the hype or anything else. Buy what you like. Buy what speaks to you, and it doesn't matter the price point or what it is. Buy what you like. Whatever talks to you, get that, because you're going to enjoy that. And nobody gives a crap at the end of the day.
That's great advice. We preach that all the time, but coming from you, that's important, and well said. So final question. When people listen to Louis Amanti 50 years from now, what do you hope they remember?
That I was an artist that cared about music, that I cared about being honest with my craft, and that until, doesn't matter how long it is, how many years passes, that people, I understand him and he understands me. I'm going through a sad moment now, or I'm going through a great moment. Louis understands what I'm going through right now as an artist. So that's what I would answer with those 3.
Great answer. On behalf of 2 of us, thank you again for being our guest, Louis. If you have any shows you'd like to plug, any social media you'd like people to go and see, any music you're coming out, the floor is yours. Plug away.
Well, thank you again for inviting me, for having me. It was a great honor. You two are true gentlemen and true collectors, and I love to chat with people that are very like-minded. And I appreciate you guys for having this great podcast for us, for people like me, for people that really do appreciate the beautiful things in life. And yeah, I perform in New York. If you guys are in New York or in Boston, in any area close by, Connecticut, swing by. I work at the Fine Up Hotel, and I go once a month and I perform with my band. And all you have to do is just go to the website and just ask, look for my schedule, and you can get tickets there or have dinner there. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. It's been a real honor. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'll make sure to plug your Instagram and your Spotify list and all that stuff on the show notes. That's it for this show. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again in a couple weeks. The Time to Calibrate podcast is a bi-weekly show and is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Have a question or a comment? Email us at timetocalibrate@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram at timetocalibrate. If you haven't given us a follow or a review yet, please do so. This helps platforms recommend us to like-minded listeners. You can also follow us individually on Instagram. I'm at Mark Time to Watch. Bob is at Time to Go 1978, and Brent is at Caliber 321. Also, be sure to check out Bob's Time to Go Travel and Timepieces YouTube channel, and be sure to visit thecalibratorist.com for all your watch-related news, editorials, and reviews. Lastly, if you like our show, do tell a friend. Heck, tell lots of friends. We'd greatly appreciate it. That's it for now. T2C out.